So let's say you recently retired or you're looking to retire somewhere in the near future and you are wondering if there's anything you can do on the side to make some extra money, maybe as some supplemental income, and somebody has told you about driving for DoorDash. And so you look into it and now you're wondering, is that something that you can do? Can you be a dasher if you are of retirement age or a senior citizen? And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of driving for DoorDash as a senior citizen, and then hopefully you can make a decision on whether or not you think you can do it. The first thing I'd like to do is go over the pros of why DoorDashing or dashing may be right for you. Number one, DoorDash exists in almost every town, so you can find work just about everywhere. So the good thing about DoorDash is that in America, at least, almost every single town has dashing going on. It has delivery service, has restaurants. So no matter where you live in the United States, chances are you'll be able to become a dasher in that area. Now, in some places, there are a big need for door dashers because there's not enough. In some places, it's oversaturated. There are plenty of drivers, so you may end up on a waiting list. But in the meantime, every town that you may work in has DoorDash available. So that's the good thing. No matter where you live, you'll be able to DoorDash. Number two, you can work at your own pace. The great thing about DoorDashing is that you can move as fast as you want or you can move as slow as you want. Obviously, you have to get orders to the customers within the allotted time period. Generally, there's plenty of time, so you don't have to rush. You just take your time, so you can really go at your own pace. Okay, you don't have to be in that kind of hectic world where things are moving really quickly. It's the kind of job where you can get out of your car, you pick up the food, you drive to the customer, you drop it off, do it at your own pace. That's one of the great things about this job. Number three is that you can work anytime during the day, whenever is convenient. Now, this is true for anybody who's a dasher, no matter what age you are, okay? But the great thing about this is you can work nights, you can work days, you can pick and choose either to dash now, meaning that as soon as you get out of the driveway and you hit the road, you hit the dash now button and you just are on your way and you'll start receiving orders, or you can pick and choose a schedule to be on. So let's say during the day you're fairly busy and you just have some other projects going on and you'd like to do just the dinner rush, right, for DoorDash, because that's when you can make the most money. You can pick that time slot and work from, let's say, 4:30 till 7:30, a nice 3-hour shift. You may make between $60 and $100, depending on your location. You can just pick and choose your own schedule whenever you want to work, whenever it's convenient for you. Number four is that you can make some extra supplementary cash. So really, that's the whole basics of this, is that you want an extra job, you want to make some extra money. This is an excellent way to do that because you can make between, even in the worst areas, $12 an hour up to some of the best areas, $25 an hour. So it is a great way to earn some extra cash that you might need to offset some of the expenses that you have that are not being covered by either your pension or Social Security. So this is an excellent job to make some extra money, okay? And the great thing about that is that if you're on Social Security, you can earn up to $18,960 per year without affecting your Social Security benefits. So for most people, that is a generous amount of extra money towards expenses. So you can easily make that doing DoorDashing in a year. If you keep that under $18,960, there's no effect on your Social Security benefits. Number five is it doesn't require learning any new skills. Now, come on. If you're a retiree, if you're a senior citizen, you've probably been driving for 50 years. That's all dashing is. Dashing is driving to a restaurant, picking up food, driving to the customer's house, and dropping it off. The bulk of everything you do is driving. Other than learning the little bit of skill on how to use the app, which shouldn't take you more than a couple of days, right? Once you start doing this, within the first couple of days, you'll have it down pat. It's really easy. So really, you're not learning any new skills to do this. Anybody can get out and do this right off the bat. If you've been driving at all, then this is the kind of job where you can just pick up, You don't have to learn anything new. Just get in the car and go, just like you've been doing your whole life. Number 6 is you can choose to stay home in bad weather. Now, unlike your previous job, where wherever you worked, let's say there's a snowstorm and your company is still open, still doing business, you have to find a way to get to work. So you're driving in the snow, you're driving in tornadoes, you're driving in hurricanes just to get to work. No need to do that. With this, with dashing, not only can you choose your schedule, whether, what time of day, but you can choose whether to go out or not at all in a day. So let's say today's Tuesday and there's really bad thunderstorms and there's a lot of flooding going on. Guess what? Take the day off. There's no boss. You're the boss. Take the day off. Do whatever you do that makes you feel comfortable. If you're not comfortable driving in the snow, you can take off. There's no punishment. There's no penalty. You can work whenever you want. If the weather is bad, it's up to you if you want to go out or stay home, right? So that's another great reason to do this. And number 7, it gets you out of the house, right? So most senior citizens and most retirees realize that after they finish work, they're kind of sitting at home. They have nothing to do. They're bored. And that's a lot of the reason why a lot of older folks go out and get a job, right? Whether it's working as a cashier or working as a security guard or any kind of numerous, easy, low kind of activity jobs, because they want to get out of the house. Nobody wants to be at home, stuck at home all day long, right? Also, if you're married and the husband and wife are both retired and they're both home, they're likely going to kill each other, right? So it gets you away from your spouse for a few hours. This way you can have time apart and enjoy the time that you do have together so that you don't kill each other and fight at home because you're home together so much, right? So that's another reason to do this job is you can get out of the house and go just be out there in the world. So now we're going to go over some of the cons, right? Because there are a few. These are things that you need to think about when thinking about if Doordashing is right for you, okay? So again, assuming that you're just not a retiree, but you're also a senior citizen. Maybe you're in your late 50s, 60s, even I've seen dashers when I went to go pick up food, dashers that look like they were 80 years old. And I think it's great. But here are some things that you need to know if you decide to do dashing. These are the cons. So the first thing is it requires a cell phone or an iPad, but more likely a cell phone. Now, back maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, a lot of senior citizens didn't have cell phones. It was just a piece of technology that they didn't really get into yet. They didn't understand. They didn't really need. If they had a cell phone, it was more like an old style flip phone, no screen or anything, just acting like a phone. Today, though, the good thing is today there's many senior citizens that actually have phones. It's become a necessity in so many different ways. So just realize that you need a cell phone to do this job or an iPad, but more likely a cell phone. Most people do it with a cell phone. So that's the first thing you're going to need, okay, is a cell phone. The second thing you have to think about is that it requires a bit of technical knowledge. Now, I used to laugh because my mother didn't even know how to use a VCR when it was literally just press the little triangle to press play, the square to to get it to stop. She was so confused by that. Why? For some reason, when people get older, their brain falls out and they don't know how to do anything. I know that sounds ridiculous, but technology eludes older people. Not everybody, obviously, but I'm talking about there's a good amount of senior citizens that have no idea how to use apps on a phone. All they use their cell phone for is to make phone calls and maybe some simple texting. So this is going to require the DoorDash app, although it's simple and it's simple to learn, it's not simple if you are an adult when it comes to technical aspects of the cell phone, right? So you are going to have to learn the app. There's a lot of things that you need to do. There's a lot of buttons you need to press. There's screens you need to look at. There's things you need to understand, right? Totally learnable. Anybody can do this. Just realize it's not just plug and play and you're ready to go. You are going to have to learn how to use the app, right? So there is a bit of a technical knowledge requirement for that. Number 3, you have to get in and out of the car all day long. Okay, so you're driving the car, you get out of the car, you pick up the food, you get in the car, you get out of the car to drop it off for the customer. If you're working 3-4 hour shifts, you're going to get in and out of your car a whole lot, right? Now, the thing about that is you get older. We all know that things start falling apart. I'm 54. Believe me, I have a lot of body aches. And thank God I don't have bad knees, but there are plenty of people that do. So getting in and out of your car all day long is very hard on your knees. You have to make sure that your legs are ready to go because you do have to get in and out of the car all day long. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Number 4, a lot of the deliveries go to apartment complexes, right? Now, we're not talking about apartment buildings that have an elevator that have 7 or 8 floors. We're talking about these apartment complexes that have multiple buildings that are on average 3 stories high. So I don't know why, but in Broken Arrow, the majority of apartment complex deliveries are on the 3rd floor. I noticed that like 80% of my deliveries in an apartment complex require me to go up 2 flights of steps to the 3rd floor. So do you have that capability? Can you go up 3 flights of steps, right? Sounds simple. I know a lot of people can't do it, right? Your legs are just not with you anymore. And so that's something you have to think about. If you're going to take deliveries, you may have to go to apartment complexes. You may have to go up 2 flights of steps, 3 flights of steps, or maybe even more. Can you do that, right? Are you comfortable going up steps several times a day? Again, most people is fine. Just keep that in mind. Number 5 is going to be the weather, right? So I've DoorDashed in the winter. I've DoorDashed in the summer. I've DoorDashed in snowstorms, ice storms. I've DoorDashed in snowstorms that were so large that there were no other dashers on the road, and the orders were just piling up in the restaurants because there was nobody there to pick them up. So keep in mind, there's going to be a lot of days where it's raining, right? And the floors are slippery, especially if you're walking in, let's say, a McDonald's parking lot, and they have the painted lines. Those lines are very slick. Believe me, I've slipped and almost killed myself a few times. Whether it's snowing, whether it's icy out, you have to keep these things in mind. Now, again, just like the pro I said before, is that if it's really bad weather, you can choose to stay home. There's no punishment. There's no penalty. In bad weather, if you can't do it, you can stay home. But just realize that the weather will be a factor when you're delivering. Whether it's raining, icy, snowy, or in the summer when it is 95 to 100 degrees out, you may suffer a heat stroke, So keep in mind that the weather is going to be a big factor on certain days depending on your physical capability, whether or not you're okay walking in the snow. Again, I've worked in the snow where the delivery location was a house that was on a slight hill, and I almost had to do like an acrobatic move just to get up the driveway in the icy snow to get the order to the front door, right? So again, keep weather in mind. And really the last thing is, there's a lot of driving. We're talking about hundreds of miles per week, okay? So it's going to require you getting in and out of the car, being in the car for long lengths of time, being in a sitting position for a long length of time, maybe 3-4 hours a day, maybe less, depending on what you can do. Just realize there's a lot of driving. Those miles add up, and you're sitting in your car for a good portion of that. So you're going to be in your car for a long time, driving a lot of miles, right? Again, think about that, how that it would affect you, whether you think that's something that you can handle as a senior citizen. But other than those things, whether or not you can do this as a senior citizen is really up to you. Just take those things into consideration. I think that most people will be okay. Again, because even if you have certain limitation, movement or physical limitations, again, you can go at your own pace. You can go at your own speed. You can take a break whenever you want. You can pause the app, if you need to take a break for 15 minutes. So I think it's doable. I think for most senior citizens, you can get away with doing DoorDash. If that's the case, great way to earn extra money. Honestly, it's just such a simple, easy, you listen to music or whatever you want to listen to in the car. You meet new people. You talk to other dashers. It really gets you out of the house. You're having a good time, and you're making some pretty good money. DoorDashing can produce some really good hourly rates once you get into it and once you know what you're doing. So excellent for senior citizens. Just take some of those considerations that I've talked about. If you can do all those things, DoorDashing is for you. It is really great, right? As a second source of income, a supplemental income to your retirement account. And if you would like to sign up, I'm going to post a link in the description area below. Just look for that link, click on it, and you can fill out a form and you can start your career in dashing. Okay, just find that link below. If you found this video helpful in any way, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me in the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.